Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so first of all, thank you for joining this workshop. What we're going to do, what we're going to learn today is, how to utilize the lung capacity to the maximum and breathe deeply. And there are a lot of benefits for doing this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just probably walk you through a couple of slides which I prepared some time back for a presentation that I had made, and to give you an overview of what we're going to cover, and then we'll go through a lot of practice together here. I hope people, especially joining in from India, I hope you've not had your dinner or anything, because it'll be easier for you to feel the movement of the air with an empty stomach. So with that, let me just kind of share my screen. And this slides will not take more than 2 minutes. Okay, let me know if you're able to see my screen, okay?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah. So basically, the way that, you have to look at it is, if you look at the physical stress, what we undergo, it's a simple equation: demands that gets placed on us physically, and the resources what we have to manage that. And I keep this equation at the back of your mind as we start looking at the slides, right? So it's easier for you to correlate it with that. So a few facts about the respiratory system. So if you were to spread the lungs on the ground, they would cover roughly about 1/4 the size of a tennis court, or roughly about 4.5 times a normal parking slot. Okay. And maybe a little bit of refresher on the biology of how the lungs work. So the way it works is, the way the lungs work is that lungs have very, very minute, I would say, endpoints, which is called as alveoli. And roughly in that 70 square meters of lungs, you would have roughly about 300 million alveoli. Okay. And why is this important? Is that this is where the oxygen gets transfused into the blood. Okay. And that's a very important thing, and what we need to remember. Then the second important fact about the lungs is that the lungs by themselves are passive. For example, today you can exercise your biceps and triceps as muscles, because they are not passive muscles. They are active muscles actually, but lungs are passive. And because the lungs are passive, what happens is that if you want to exercise the lungs, you got to exercise the muscles around the lungs. And what are the muscles which are surrounding the lungs? The three important muscles that you should remember is, there is this muscle, what is called as the diaphragm, which separates the stomach from the lungs and the heart. Okay, this is number one. And the number two is between the rib cages. I hope you can see my mouse pointer, right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, let me just see. Okay, so between the lungs, there are muscles which connect between the lungs, called as intercostal muscles. So this is diaphragm, this is intercostal muscles. And at the clavicular region, which is at the top portion, you have what is this? Cervical muscles. So these are the three set of muscles that we need to exercise. And the way it's like a bellows, right? If you want to blow air into something, the bellows will blow up and blow down. When you've seen those people blow the bellows, it'll be like that. So the way that it works is that the lungs operate because there's a pressure difference created between the external world and the internal lungs. Okay, and the pressure is created, and because these muscles move. So when you consciously move this muscle and consciously move these muscles, what happens is that the pressure is created within the lungs, which sucks in the air from outside. And that's how the process works. And that's very, very important for us to understand that. Okay. And because at the end of the day, breathing consciously means, exercising these muscles, which is pretty important aspect of enhancing the capacity of lungs. Okay, and remember one more thing: oxygenation of the body is in two phases. Okay, it's not in one phase. Just by breathing in, it doesn't mean that the oxygen goes off into the bloodstream. So first of all, in the alveoli, in the lungs, the bad blood comes in carrying the carbon dioxide and other things that the body wants to excrete. And then at the alveoli, it is exchanged with oxygen. And then the good blood goes inside to all the internal cells, and the oxygen is provided to all the parts of the body. Okay. Now, the other aspect, which is an important aspect to understand, is that there's a beautiful chart which I came across somewhere. It says that if you look at the cross section of the different mammals, okay, and the number of breaths per minute average what they would take, and correlated with the lifespan, you would see that take the man's best friend, the dog. Dog has about 50 breaths per minute, lives for roughly about 15 years. Okay, and a tortoise on the other end of the spectrum has only about 3 to 4 breaths per minute and lives for about 400 years. And a human being, 15 to 30 breaths per minute, roughly between 60 to 80 years. So you'd see there's a direct correlation. In fact, they say that how long we live is dependent on the number of breaths that we take. So the direct correlation is that the slower that you start breathing and more efficiently that you start breathing, chances are that we will live much more longer, much more healthily as well. And I came across this beautiful chart which talks about how a normal breathing pattern of a human being is, right? And when you expand the way that we are going to practice today in terms of how we're going to expand the lung capacity, then the breathing, if you notice, the speed also goes down from compared to this, and the depth in terms of number of the volume of air that one would breathe in, that also goes in. And when that happens, what happens is that the lung capacity automatically starts expanding, and over a period of time, you will realize that you are aerating more parts of your lungs than what you're normally doing otherwise. So it's like you've opened up some dark rooms within your homes, suddenly let the light inside, and now the rooms are pretty bright. Otherwise, it's all pretty cobweb and everything, and you can't use the particular room. And over a period of time, unused rooms becomes pretty smelly, musty, and they have a lot of problems that they create for us in the house. It's the same analogy here as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is today, just going back once again to summarize, we're going to learn how to breathe by exercising these different muscles that surround the lungs today. Okay, that's the whole practice what we're going to do here today. All right. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to the practice that we will follow is very simply. We will first observe how our natural breathing is today. Okay, and once we start observing how our natural breathing is today, we will change it consciously in 3 steps. Okay, exercise the diaphragm first, then exercise the intercostal muscles, the muscles that connect the lungs together, and then the clavicular breathing, which is the muscles which is at the top. That anyway, all of us know how to do it. So here is what we're going to do. Start off by, if you're sitting on a chair, just don't lean on the chair armrest. Just sit straight, then close your eyes. Just observe for 1 minute till you hear me, prompt. Okay, how you normally breathe. Okay, just keep following the path of the air right from the time it touches your nostril to where it goes into your lungs. You don't change anything. Just be normal in your breathing style. just start observing till where the air is reaching into your lungs. All right. So, can any one or two volunteers tell me about your observation about, where till how much depth are you able to breathe? What I mean to say is that are you using your full lung capacity? Till where do you find the air flowing? Up to where?
Up to about half.
Half. That's good.
Half, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Maybe less.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, same here. I think it's the upper and the middle lung. I cannot feel it beyond that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now you see that's the problem, right? In fact, some of the studies have shown that a human being actually uses only about 10% of the lung capacity. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it, or maybe maximum 20%. Okay, and which means 80% of your lung capacity is actually dark. You have to light it up, right? And the way that we have to light it up is by learning how to change the way that we breathe. Okay, so with that, now here's what we would do first, right? Now, try to visually, imagine. Just keep your hand on your stomach, okay, and just keep feeling it up, okay, where it touches the rib cage, right? Just touch that entire. Okay, let me just show you here, right? Just, I hope you can see me. So just touch this part where it touches the rib cage around entirely like this, right? So this is where the diaphragm is, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to slowly start breathing in so that we would push this diaphragm down, all right? So, you may find it a little difficult to do it initially. It's okay. Just visualize that it's being pushed down, okay? And as you visualize it, visualize that the air is not going only to the top portion. Air is first going to the bottom of your lungs. Again, I'm using the word visualization, okay? Because we are learning it here together. So you got to visualize it. And later on when you practice, it will become automatic for you, okay? So here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you, just watch me. I'm going to hold my hand like this on my stomach, and I'm going to breathe in with my normal way that I breathe in, but I will imagine that my diaphragm is moving down. So the lungs will be expanded vertically like this, okay? And when the diaphragm moves down like this, then what is going to happen is the stomach is compressed and the stomach will come out, okay? So I make that physical motion of pushing my diaphragm down so that my stomach is coming out. I hope you're getting the point, okay? So watch my stomach, right? So my hand will come up like this. Okay. So for the next 1 minute, I want all of us to force the air. It's a little bit of for people who are not used to this, I think it'll be a little difficult, but please force the air and feel your stomach come out and the lungs taking in the air to the bottom of your lungs. Let's do that. You can close your eyes and feel that air going to the bottom of the lungs. We'll do this for a minute and a half. And sometimes your breathing might get heavy because you're not used to breathing it this way. Go ahead, breathe heavily. It's okay. We are just learning here. So when the air is going inside, your stomach should come away from your spine. And when the air is going outside, your stomach should go back towards your spine. Just continue with that for maybe another 30 more seconds. All right. Just you can open your eyes, and any two volunteers to tell me, did you find anything different from the way that you were normally breathing to this breathing?
Yeah, for me, I could actually take it down much deeper. Previously, it was very shallow, just somewhere between the throat and the lung. But now I kind of feel that
You can
I
feel
could
that.
get more air in, basically.
Got it. And do you feel that the diaphragm, actually it's a pretty thick muscle. Do you feel that thing movement do it down, or you're just imagining it still?
I would say more or less imagining
Okay.
it.
Okay. Fair enough. Anybody else?
Actually, I'm able to
Breathe.
push. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go on, go on.
I'm able to feel the, stomach come out when I'm inhaling, but when I'm exhaling, I'm not able to push it fully in a sense. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And next time when you're exhaling, when you're pushing back your stomach inside, you're not able to do it. Use your hand, press the stomach, so the air is forced out. So you're using the external force to press the air out, because you're learning at this point of time. The body will get used to it over a period of time.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Breathing is smoother.
Smoother. Okay.
Mhm.
But where does the air go? Do you feel the air going to the bottom of your lungs, or do you still find it, the usual way that you normally breathe?
I find it going to the stomach, yes, but when I try to expand the stomach, it kind of stops at some point. It does not
Got
go
it.
beyond a certain point.
Got it.
So that's where I need to improve.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
Hey, Rajesh, I'll share a candid thought. Okay, if I don't share it, then I'm not being candid with you. So to your first question, I could not tell whether I'm breathing 1/4 of a lung, half a lung, or full a lung. That's one thing. I'm doing it first time ever with you. That's one. Second thing is the one thing that you said, right? Deep breathing and pushing diaphragm down and how it pushes stomach out. That was happening earlier also. So without deep breathing. So without knowing whether I'm like breathing 1/4 of a lung, 20% of a lung, the stomach was like, yes, of course, deep breathing feels good. Generally speaking, that's my observation. So I haven't really, I'm still digesting what you're saying. So that's the feedback I wanted to pass.
Got it. Not a problem. We will go one step at a time. So
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay.
Rajesh, just wanted to share one thing which I just learned yesterday. When you're trying to breathe in and you're not able to do it very deep breathing, somebody said just try to open your nostrils while you're breathing in. And I found it really useful, so I thought I'll share it here. So when you breathe in, just try to open the nostril and you'll definitely breathe deeper. And
Thank
it will
you.
go to the diaphragm. So that was a very helpful tip to me.
Yeah.
It takes a while to actually open the nostril, but yeah, once you start doing it,
Right.
it gets deep.
Okay. So that's, basically what we practiced just now is to expand your lungs vertically. Okay. So that means the bottom, mostly the bottom 1/3 portion of your lungs, if you can visualize it that way, is aerated now. Okay. Now what we'll do is in the next session, in the next 2-3 minutes, we will aerate the middle 1/3 portion of the lungs, which means just, touch your ribs and feel between your ribs that there are a set of muscles. Okay. Now, when you start breathing in, what you're going to do is you're going to expand the muscles which connect the ribs. Okay. So the ribs are like this, okay. Ribs are like this. You slowly expand them and expand them like this. Okay. Slowly. Right. And don't do this too hard, because, the ribs are themselves pretty tight and the muscles are pretty much more tighter. So you need to do it slowly. And as you do that, imagine that the air is going to the middle 1/3 portion of your lungs. Okay, imagine, visualize. Okay, again, please close your eyes. Okay, now keep your hands on your chest. Okay, so that you can feel the rib cage is expanding. Now the rib cage will expand horizontally, right? Like lengthwise like this. So just close your eyes, breathe so that the air goes to the middle portion of your lungs. And when you want to push the air back out, collapse the lungs and just gently press your hand so you can actually feel that movement. When you're learning, you need to use the hand. All right. Please open your eyes. Can someone tell me any observations that you had? And basically, when I'm asking for observation, I'm just asking for how you normally breathe, okay, to how you're breathing now. What difference do you see?
Obviously, the intake is definitely higher. Normally, you're not even conscious that you're breathing, right? I mean, when you're normally working through the day. But I think when you're focusing this way and we're able to see that I'm actually taking in more volume and releasing more volume out. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyone else? One more comment from someone?
I felt that in the previous exercise, I was focused on getting the stomach out. So that happened first. But now it felt like I was filling in the rib portion first, and then my stomach came out.
Okay.
So it almost like I could breathe in longer. So
Okay.
first, yeah, that's how it felt.
Okay, awesome. Now, so what we did in the last few minutes is that we tried to get in air to the bottom 1/3 portion of the lungs by pushing the diaphragm, then get air to the middle 1/3 portion of your lungs by expanding the rib cage. And I don't need to teach any one of you how to breathe to expand the clavicular muscles because that's normally how we do it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we combine all the three things together. Okay, breathe first to the bottom portion of the lungs. Then, without breathing out, we breathe in more to the middle portion of the lungs. And then without breathing out, we breathe into the top portion of the lungs. And once the lungs are full, we expel the air with the top, middle, and bottom. Is that clear now what we're going to do? Any questions? Okay.
No.
Here's how I want you to do this, okay? Place one hand on your stomach, one hand on your chest, with your thumb touching your, more or less near your throat, okay? And as you breathe in first to the bottom portion of your lungs, okay, feel your stomach go out. And then when you can't take it any further, don't breathe out. Breathe in more and expand your chest. And when you can't expand it anymore, breathe in more to the top portion of your lungs. And do it very slowly, okay? Let's go. Do it very, very slowly. And keep a smile on your face. That way you're not, pressurizing yourself. You don't need to hold the air in your lungs. The moment your complete lungs are full, just release the air gently in the reverse order, right? 30 more seconds. Please continue. All right. Any observations from anyone?
A lot of air I could take in, and so if I counted about 6 or 8 taking in, I was able to release about 12 to 15 out. So it was a lot of air that I could release out.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think every cycle is taking much longer than it normally does, right? So you're actually, I don't know whether I'm spending almost 10-15 seconds to actually do one cycle. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking that it's definitely taking longer to do one cycle. Yeah.
Okay. Now, here is a question that I'm going to ask you. Do you feel lightheaded now when you do this kind of a breathing?
Sure.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Chances are that, chances are people who are not used to doing deep breathing, like what we just now practiced, when they do it for the first time or the first few days, let's say, you'll feel lightheaded. And lightheaded is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. It just shows that, your body is getting more oxygen and you're actually feeling a little bit more energetic. Okay. That's what it means. So do not worry about it. When you practice this, if you feel lightheaded, it's okay. Okay. But over a period of time, it will just become the new normal for you. So please do not worry about it. All right. So that's all it is. So the breathing is this, right? So, what I'm going to do is, I know that we're going to run out of time in the next 10 more minutes. So what we had learned in the whole process is that you have to start breaking down your lungs into 3 different parts. Breathe in from the bottom, middle, and the top by exercising the muscles that surround the lungs, the diaphragm, the intercostal muscles, and the clavicular muscles. And we are doing it consciously. So right now it's like sort of, let's say, conscious competence for us. But as you start practicing this on a daily basis, what you're going to see is that you become unconsciously competent in doing it completely. It'll become a natural way of life for you. And I can assure you one thing, okay? The more you start aerating your lungs, the more easier it is for the body to start resisting any of the diseases, especially respiratory diseases. And I can tell you my own personal example. I used to be asthmatic and I learned this technique. I was breathing in, breathing out very differently than what I used to do before. And trust me, it's been about, touch wood, it's been maybe about 15, 17 years that I have zero asthma. I have no problems with anything on that. And not only that, the body immunity increases significantly. And, I can't prove it to you because I'm not a medical scientist, but you can prove it for yourself. Try it. And you'll be able to see the huge difference within your own body. So with that, any questions, comments, feedback, we can take that. And if you want to have more questions, we can log back again to the same bridge, but opening it up for Q&A now.
Hey guys, my wife Bhavna joined as well, so she has a question.
Hi, sorry to butt in, but is there a ratio for inhale and exhale that is optimal, or is it the same amount of time?
Great question. So I would suggest start off with 1:1, okay? But over a period of time, your exhale should be slightly longer than your inhale, okay? And there's a reason for that. The body has 2 mechanisms, okay? What I would call it as fight or flight response and rest and recuperate response, okay? So fight or flight response basically wants more air inside. So the breathing in should be more. When you rest and recuperate response for your body, where your body is recovering from whatever, then you need to have your out breath longer. So basically, if you do 1:1.2, Even normal breathing, when when you keep your exhales longer, trust me, your body is going to be more relaxed and you will be able to recover much, much more faster from any sort of diseases that you face.
So when you say exhale is the same amount of time, does that include the time when you hold the breath at the bottom?
You don't hold the breath at all. You just,
Okay.
it's just a switch. Okay. Holding breath, I would never ever recommend to anybody, especially not on a Zoom session. And it requires a lot more detailed analysis of an individual. I would never recommend you to hold your breath in your lungs. Because what happens is that the carbon dioxide content in the lungs can cause delirious conditions for humans. Okay. So it's very, very important that we need to regulate the breath in the right way. So please do not ever hold your breath consciously.
Yeah, thank you.
Kuntax, actually, I've been practicing deep breath for a while now, and this is based on a pranayama book from Baba Ramdev, and there he recommends 1:2:2 ratio of breathe in, hold, and breathe out. And I've been practicing that, and I find that my breathing becomes very smooth after doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm holding the breath, and that's actually working for me.
If it's
Is-
working
is
for
it-
you,
is-
continue, because your body might have gotten used to it. But I would not recommend for anybody, because holding breath consciously means that there's a lot of changes that one needs to do to diet, to sleep, and all that stuff, which I know that
I
it's
see.
hard for people to do. So I usually
It's
don't
difficult,
recommend
yes.
it. And I would personally would like to meet the person face to face before we actually,
Acha.
make
Okay.
those interventions. So I would not do it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Is there any technique for breathing in? In the sense, is there any specific way to breathe in or something like that? And breathe
No,
out?
just breathe. I mean, of course, the technique for breathing is only through the nose. We should never breathe through the mouth. Okay, it's only through the nose always, because the nose has got an inbuilt filtration system.
Yeah.
That would filter the air and take it in. So I do not know. Maybe I didn't understand your question. Can you elaborate that?
No, because see, somebody who's told this before, that when you breathe in, you try to take in through Ujjayi breath. Okay, right? So the explanation that was given was, if you're actually watering your plants with a hose, if you want the water to travel further distance, you constrict the hose. So what you do is you're actually watering in the front, but if you constrict the hose and make it a little narrower, it travels a further distance, right? So what he was saying is that when you're actually breathing in, you try to constrict your throat muscle and then try to take it in, by which way you're actually pumping the air not just to the top, but also to the middle and the bottom. Yeah. So the Ujjayi breath is what he was trying to explain,
Yeah.
So logically it makes sense, but I find it very difficult to understand whether I'm doing it correctly or not. So that's the thing. Yeah.
See, there are different pranayama techniques, but my suggestion is, unless and until one learns the basics of deep breathing, right, in terms of exercising the different types of 3 muscular types surrounding the lungs, one should learn that first before migrating into pranayama techniques. Okay, because pranayama techniques, it seems pretty easy to do it when everybody else is doing it, but the point is our body should be ready to do it. And my biggest fear is that our bodies are not probably ready to do it. That's where I'm very, very concerned when I talk about pranayama to anybody.
So when you practiced what you told us today, so I do pranayama and they say you should not do certain things on a full stomach. But what you taught us today, can you do it on a full stomach?
Yeah, you can do it. Because this is supposed to be our new way of breathing normally, but because of whatever reasons, stress and eating habits, drinking habits, lifestyle, whatever, we have forgotten how to breathe. You go watch a baby, how it breathes today. Okay. The baby will be breathing exactly the way that we are learning today. Because the baby has got zero stress, but over time life catches up with us and we don't know how to breathe. Lost that ability.
And what's your recommended practice for the day, Rajesh? Just to
Okay, great question. So assuming that 14 to 15 hours is the waking time, at the stroke of stroke of the hour, just drop everything, 1 minute, just do this breathing. Rest of the time you breathe whichever way that you want to breathe. But consciously, 1 minute per hour, change your breathing pattern, and over a period of time, over let's say 30 days, you will see that you've changed your breathing pattern in a normal time.